You're gotta blow a job interview as fast as you can. What do you do? So what exactly is the drug test able to detect? I took a drug test for a furniture store and I watched in real time as the undesired result for cannabis appeared, while I passed the other ones no problem. Hiring manager literally said close enough. And continued processing my paperwork. I'm a paralegal. Private law firms never drug test. Same for 95% of software roles. There's too much demand for the talent and too few people with the skills available for companies to be disqualifying people for that stuff. I've gotten tested for almost all of my roles in software, but I usually pass, so I think it's just to look for stronger substance abuse. Say that you think the company is dumb and you're only there because your mother made you more effective the older you are. I read a comment once about how a GameStop employee was about to interview a teenager and the kid's mom accosted the interviewer first, telling him that she was making her kid get this job because he was so lazy and not hardworking and thought it would teach him some good skills. Totally ruined his chance at getting the job, lol. Thanks, Mom. Didn't I say keep your head up straight? Ask about the sexual harassment policy. Is it like super strict? Or set in stone? On a scale of pancake tits to Boltons, how firm are your sexual harassment policies? How close are we to a school zone, exactly? Tell the interviewer to not show up to work the next day. You're trying to blow a job interview, not be reported for terrorist threats. The 2-in-1 special. Be myself. That has a proven track record. Sit down, reach into my backpack and pop open a beer. I interviewed once for a marketing position at Skoal. There were plastic cup dispensers on every wall and cans of Skoal in dispensers on every wall. 3 guys walked in the room in jeans and polo shirts and all put in a dip, offered me a can of Skoal, and started to interview me. It was absolutely weird. Scratch your ass, then go for the handshake. Don't forget to sniff your fingers before going for the handshake. And gag after sniffing. Or give it a lick, whatever you think will freak them out more. Both, in that order. And then sneeze into your hand, and lick it again. Never mind the job, you're not even getting a handshake at this point. Show up drinking a beer when the interviewer brings it up, apologetically say, "Oh, sorry bud, how rude of me." And proceed to pull another warm beer out of my purse and toss it to them. I'd hire you. Manners matter. Manners maketh man. Show up with my mom and have her answer all the questions for me. Edit, holy cow, thanks for all the awards. My most popular Reddit comment ever. No joke. Had a guy's wife join him in an interview. We politely asked why she was there and then asked her to leave. She said, "If I leave, he goes too." I said, "Okay. This interview is done. Thanks for coming in." I get wanting to be there to support him, but actually coming into the interview is a bit much. What was their plan? Was she going to come to his shifts too? I read that as blowjob an interview, which inspires me to say offer a blowjob. It was rather suspiciously titled, wasn't it? Does op suck? Showing up to interview with a pet parrot on your shoulder does not blow the interview. My wife worked for a popular online shoe retailer that starts with a Z and interviewed a guy who showed up like this. She gave him the job, because, who wouldn't want to work with a dude that would show up to an interview with a bird on their shoulder? I went into a local store and the dude talking to me had a parakeet chilling on his shoulder. I didn't even recognize until he bent down to pick something up. Anyone who can bro an animal is cool in my book. Just don't show up. Edit, this is how I would bomb a job interview because I'd be too anxious to do anything more drastic, lol. Yes, nowadays they'd probably reach out to reschedule or something. This is also the least effort, but if you're collecting unemployment it could be used against you, who knows? Right? I guess this is blowing an interview if you're already there, so the next closest thing is just leaving without a word. Walk in, shake their hand, sit down, get back up and leave. I'd say that would be a minute tops from walking in to walking out. 1. Walk in, Fold jacket and place on chair 2. Shake interviewer's hand and take seat 3. First question he asks: unload the loudest, smelliest fart and say that's pretty much what I think about that. 4. Unfold jacket and put jacket on. 5. Walk out. I like this due to the prep work of having a fart ready to go, but the insane ability to hold it until that first question is asked. You got to the interview, signed in, exchanged pleasantries, all while having a dirty fart just laying in wait. Impressive, friend, impressive. And since you just planted it in your jacket, you're going to stink on the way out. Say meow at the end of each sentence. Or twice at the beginning of each sentence, like Henrietta Pussycat from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Meow meow, time management is my greatest strength. Say it in an extra deep voice. Hashtag meow meow, time management is my greatest strength. I'd appear with my well-loved plushie and let it do the interview for me. Whenever the interviewer asks a question, ask the plushie what it thinks. Would you be willing to travel to client sites 3 days a week? What do you think, Dr. Snugglepuss? Oh. Sorry, no, I don't think we could do that. Then you get into an argument. When I agreed to bring you, we talked about this. You need to compromise on some things with me if we want that house. Just because I'm going to a client doesn't mean anything is happening. That was one time. I never bring up Rick these days anymore, do I? Did this years ago. I drank a Coke quickly to settle my stomach before a big interview for a dream job. Right as introductions are being made and I am shaking the CEO's hand, I don't say nice to meet you. I instead let out the loudest, nastiest belch ever formed by my digestive tract. Epic echo in the hallway, too. No way to recover, I just turned around silently and left. Never heard from them again. Walks up, shakes your hand, belches loudly in your face, refuses to elaborate, leaves. This reminds me of an old joke. Interviewer: one last question. What would you say is your biggest flaw? Job seeker: well, I'm brutally honest. Interviewer: I see, well really, I think that's really not too much of a flaw. Job seeker: I don't give a duck what you think. Many years ago I went through a mass hiring session. 1,500 people showed up. There was a brief screening interview and then applicants would move on to the second interview based on that first interview. I was passed on to the second round and was sitting waiting my turn. Behind me was a curtain and on the other side was someone doing the first interviews. Interviewer asked a guy about his last job and why he left. He said, you gotta understand, I sweat. I mean, I sweat a lot. I was a waiter and I would bring a plate of food to someone and drip into their dinner. They didn't like that. Without hesitation the interviewer called out, next. This is the guy who should actually answer. When asked what his weak point is, I am far too honest for my own good. That doesn't seem like a weakness? I don't give a duck what you think. Ask for the Wi-Fi pass is the first thing. I only like to torrent on public networks, keeps me safe. Edit, since no one has mentioned it in this thread, is blowing up. Username checks out. Start talking about how Hitler was just misunderstood. I'm mixed Jewish and Japanese, so I feel like this would be an interesting conversation. Dress up as the original Agent Smith. I get bonus points to start talking in his manner. I also refer to the interviewer as Mr. Anderson and be as condescending as possible. Interviewer: so why do you want to work for us? Agent Smith condescendingly sighs Mr. Anderson. I want to get out of this place, the stench. It'd be really funny if I got this job. Totally not because I would commit arson or anything, but it'd be really funny. I think just saying it'd really be funny if I got this job is probably the best down-to-earth way to blow the interview. So perfectly understated. Why's that? They surely ask I dunno man, just, funny.